We're alive. Hey everyone, Dimitri here, Pornography Addiction Recovery Coach. I want to quickly talk about trauma because I think there is some misunderstanding about trauma. And there is a belief that trauma cannot be healed, together as well with a belief that addiction to pornography cannot be healed as well. And so I am the living proof that these two beliefs are not true. Addiction to pornography can be healed, trauma can be healed. And so in regards to trauma, you can find yourself in three places. Either you suffer from trauma that is heavy trauma and also is attached to PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome disorder, or you have trauma that has no PTSD, or you have no trauma. So if you have trauma with PTSD, it is pretty urgent to consult psychological professionals, but also maybe psychiatrists, to be able to deal with the PTSD, and that's what's to be dealt with in the first place. And it's not stigmatizing. It's just if you acknowledge you have PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome disorder, you may not know what this means. If you have visions, flashes, things about yourself you don't understand, that's more general trauma. But yeah, visions, flashes, being triggered during the day so that it doesn't allow you to continue through your day, these are post-traumatic syndrome disorder. It's important to deal with them and look for help. And unfortunately, I'm not qualified to work with PTSD, and I can't work with you because I wouldn't want to walk on a landmine and then get you triggered into something that is out of control. So I'm sorry I cannot help you with that, and psychological help and psychiatric help can help you. And it can be just the one session, and you get some form of diagnosis or whatever it is, and that can be it. They can be just as simple as flagging it. If you suffer from trauma, you can't. The thing you need to do whenever you're open for it is to deal with the trauma. And trauma therapy is not something that is suitable for trauma. So talking about the trauma is going to help a little bit, maybe 5%, 10%, but it's not going to heal the trauma. And the way to heal the trauma is to go back to the event and reprocess it in your mind. What trauma is a page in your mind that is not turned. Trauma relates to death. The brain is feeling it's going to die, and so it's shutting down. And it doesn't know what's happening in that situation. And so then it stores that in the back of your brain, in your shadow, or in your unconscious deeply. And then every so often it's coming back to you and it's like, hey, there's this page that I haven't turned. I haven't dealt with it. I don't know what to do with it. And that's what the triggers are. You get triggered because the brain doesn't know what to do with that page that it hasn't turned. So to turn the page, you need to reprocess the trauma adequately. And there's a few methods for that. I can help you with that. There's a few other methods. The methods I use, called reprocessing, is a bit of a hash of different techniques. Other techniques called EMDR, eye movement desensitization therapy, that I've experienced as well, that has worked well for me. Any process where you go deep into yourself at the unconscious level and reprocess the trauma in whichever way, that's what you need to do. Talking about it will help a little bit, but after a while, there won't be any point. Talking about it is just about diving in. So see how you feel. And I'm sorry, I'm not telling you what to do. I am guiding you if you feel drawn to these. Hey, Lewis, thank you for the feedback. If you feel drawn to these things in your life and that's the right time for you to act upon those, then please, these are things you can do. If it's not the right time, it's not the right time. That's fine. You can just go to another video. Turn the page. So if you have trauma, you can reprocess the trauma. EMDR, myesthesia is the technique that I use, etc., etc. When you carry trauma and you live a life free of trauma, it's a completely different life. You just rediscover yourself. You live from the heart rather than living in the mind. You live from love rather than living out of fear. It's like your potential is unleashed, when before that all the trauma was holding on you and you were carrying all this baggage unnecessarily. And there's a part of me that wants to invite you to healing because, wow, this is such a tremendous difference. And it takes, 2, 3, 4 sessions. Like, it's ridiculously efficient because trauma is pretty binary. You have the trauma, then you don't have the trauma anymore. There's not like this 50-50 thing. So, yeah, why not? Why not? And then if you don't have any trauma, this is where it gets interesting. If you don't have any trauma, I want to say, really? You don't have any trauma. Like nothing ever has bad happened to you in your life. So there's a part of me that is skeptical and that wants to invite you to look further. And there's even a part of me that is sorry for you, because if you feel you have no trauma, it's possible that you have gone through so much trauma that you've normalized trauma, and that these little things that have happened to you, oh yeah, I got beaten up 1 time, twice, 10 times, 20 times, and it's just become a normal thing. But these things are not normal. They are traumatic episodes that the brain cannot process. And I'm putting a sense of normality here. It's not about what's good or bad, or I don't want to put some stigma on this, but it's about how the mind deals with it. Like if you get beaten up, if whatever. I don't want to go into the whole vocabulary of triggers and things like that. But whatever's happened to you, if it's happened 20 times or several times, then it's a new trauma every time. So if you feel like you have no trauma, I invite you to look within and ask yourself, have I gone through so much stuff that I've normalized the stuff, and actually I've gone through a lot? And it's okay. And especially if you want to be a tough guy, well, I'm going to work this out on my own. I don't need anyone. I can deal with this. I'm tough. It's like, why do you need toughness? And you need toughness because you've gone through some shit, and you've built, a thick layer of skin to protect yourself from that. Rightly so. And now maybe it's time to liberate yourself from that baggage that you're carrying that you don't really need anymore. And you have all my compassion and my love as you engage in this journey or these revelations or whatever it is for you as I share this video. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. So you can talk about it, you can meditate, you can do all the stuff, but adequate reprocessing is what's needed. If you suffer from PTSD, then you need to address the PTSD first. Otherwise, the PTSD is going to come and sabotage the work on the trauma itself. But once you can access the trauma, then or you need to find someone, and there needs to be another person. It's not something you can do on your own. It kind of sucks. It's just the way it is. You need a mirror who can help you dive into yourself against the fear and allow you to embrace the fear and reprocess the thing adequately. And it feels, so what happens when you release a trauma? At the beginning, there's lots of resistances to go deep. There can be a lot of resistances, or not many, but some level of resistances. Then you will know that you're tapping into it, and then there will be a transfer. And when that transfer happens, there'll be a big emotional release, crying, shaking, whatever it is. So to give you an example, what's happened for me, there was a guy who choked me when I was 3 or 4 years old. I don't really remember. And he choked me really strong, and I thought I was gonna die. And that was through EMDR therapy that I did this work. And then after a while, I reprocessed that, and then my therapist said, and now what do you see? Like, if you look at your aggressor, what do you feel for him? It's like, oh, he's probably been through aggression as well, and I feel sorry for him. And then it transformed the anger into compassion. And even now, as I say to you, I still feel, I'm close to tears. And it transfers the anger in compassion. And when I said that, I just broke down in tears, because that was, I went from this person is an aggressor to this person is a victim, and developing empathy for whoever, understanding what's happened for those people who have done these things to you, then allows to see that they're not almighty bad people. They're just people who've gone through some shit and, inadequately projected that onto you. So there's this diving deep, resistances, emotional release, and then there's this incredible feeling of like alleviatedness, and they'll be typically a part of your body. For me, it's the ribs a lot somehow. The ribs will feel like they're flaring open. There's this, for me, what was it? The yellow color. There was a yellow color everywhere in my body. My breathing was clear. And then I had seen a friend before the session and after the session. And then I said, hey guys, I came back, and she said, oh, you've changed. And I didn't tell her what I was going to do. And she just said, oh, you've changed. So, the micro expressions on your face change as well. They really, all these tensions that we hold, we don't realize we're like this all the time. And then, this gets released, and you just get a baby skin, because all these micro muscles in your face are relaxed and accepting and welcoming of who you are. So that's a quick description of what happens when you heal trauma, and my understanding of adequate trauma healing. and I think it's important to share that. There's still a lot of misunderstanding around trauma, and I just wanted to share my experience and the techniques I use for reprocessing. So if it's something you're feeling, okay, what am I talking about this in this group? Final point: addiction comes from trauma. Addiction comes from the fact that you have addictive ground, genetics, family, heritage. There's nothing you can do about that. But also, for the addiction to be active, there needs to be some sort of trauma, attachment issue, some wound inflicted at some stage that makes the compulsion being a soothing for the trauma that I call the core wound. So this is why for healing from addiction to pornography, you need to be able to heal trauma. And that's what I train myself to do. So I just wanted to share that with you and share some clarity around trauma. If you have any question, please let us know in the comments. And otherwise, I'm hoping that this is helpful. I wish you well. You have all my empathy and compassion if something has clicked for you in this video. And even if it hasn't, it may later or never, and that's fine. And I wish you a great evening. See ya.